And we are live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Stamperia Live Thursday Shop. We have Joe from Imagine If in New Zealand. Hi, Joe.
Hey, how's it going, Pharrell?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, great. So happy to be here.
We've been chatting in the background, talking
We
about the
have.
weather. It's been raining here, but it's also been raining in New Zealand, and it's very, very cold at the moment.
Yeah, it is. We've had so much water. It's just not funny. The place is flooded all over the place. So it's actually just the ground is wet now. It's just too wet. We need to dry out.
Crazy. It's crazy weather.
Weird weather.
So we have got a few people popping in, so hello. So while everyone's coming in, Joe, I'll get you to let everyone know about your store.
Sure. So we're in Morrinsville, which is in the central North Island in New Zealand, and we have a store. We've been going a really long time, doing all sorts of bits and pieces, but we've been stocking the Stamperia product for years. I'm actually not sure how long we've been stocking it for. It's awesome. We have everything from the chipboard to the paper packs to the paints to I can't even think of all the products. Stencils, the die cuts, obviously, rub-ons, anything we can get our hands on, we like to stock it. And but I love making projects with all the ranges. They look awesome.
Oh, that's what we like to hear.
Yes. Well, they tell such a good story, don't they? Like you can pick them up and the story's there. You can just see the story in your head.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Aneska. So I've seen there's a few people. So Tracy, thank you. Hi, Tracy. So, Andrea, hello from Melbourne. Yes, glad to see that there's, hi, Kelly. Okay, so what we might do then, because you've got a fair bit to do.
Yeah, well, you tell me I had an hour, so I worked out that I could get a 3-hour class in an hour, okay?
Go you. Do you know
there's nothing like being an overachiever, is it?
Well, my other lives used to go for 2 hours, and then I was told hour. Do you know how hard it is to cram? Well,
I know. I was like, I can't do anything cool in an hour.
Well, I've seen a bit of your project, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be cool and everyone's going to love it. So just quickly, though, you did mention that what you're doing today is also a kit.
It is. Yep. So it's $75 for the kit without any mixed media in it. That way it just makes it, you don't have to go and buy everything if you already have all the cool products at home.
Yep. And they can find that on your website, yeah?
Yeah, they will. At the end of this, it's loaded. It just needs to go live as soon as it's finished.
Yep. Okay. So everyone, kit is available after the live. So don't go looking now because you want to.
Yeah, and I can send it to Australia if there's any Australians that want the kit. I can send it. It's about $22 in freight though, so you might want to think about that. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. So what we might do is let me move me over to this side. Pow pow. And I'm going to make me small. And
can you really make yourself small, Pharrell?
Yes, look, I'm looking in person. No, but
I was going to say no.
Technology, I can make myself small.
Yeah,
from France. Hi, everyone. Okay, so I will be quiet.
All right,
I'll be quiet. You get started.
Cool, excellent. Okay, so we're going to start off. We're going to make a book. Just the first part, it's not going to be a plain book. It's going to be a little bit different once we get going, but I'm just going to show you how to make a basic book. So we're going to start with just a piece of paper that I've scored twice, and I've just given myself a bit of room. This is the spine going to go through the middle. I've actually just stuck a bit of chipboard already on the spine, so that's actually going to just be the spine of my book. All right, we're going to just get, this is a really big book, so I'm just going to throw.
Molly. That book is ginormous.
Pharrell, I told you I'm not, I had this glue all working. Isn't that typical? I told you I'm not doing it by halves. It's a 12 by 12. Look, you can actually blame the paper for this because the paper is just so cool that I just could not bear to make it any smaller.
Magic
All right.
Forest is
Yeah, so all I've
collection.
done is I've gone and stuck the big piece of chipboard on this side of the fold, and then I'm going to stick the next part. So this is just a really basic book. I'm not going to muck around too much here with gluing and stuff because this is actually not the proper version of the book. It's got a small score line there. Okay, and because I've already pre-scored it, you can see it just folds together nice and easily. Then I would take my other piece that I scored exactly the same, and I'm just going to put that straight on there. Now, with any luck, I'm going to get this in the right place the first time. It would be really nice, but
you will be good if you can.
Yeah, I know. I would normally do it afterwards, but I was trying to make life a little bit easy, you know.
And just like that, done.
Just like that. Oh, I'm out. I'm definitely out, but that's all right. Okay, we would know how that works, and if I do it this way, you can't tell that I've done it wrong because it actually looks quite good on. So this is now the inside of my book. All right. Now, when you want to add lots of pages, there's lots of ways to do it in the middle, but there's actually a really cool way of doing it. And I take another piece of paper and I just fold it straight in half. And I like to give myself a really good grip here. And I'm just going to put that on to the side. So that's on my left-hand side. So that's going to be my first opening page. And what you can do is then take another piece, exactly the same, and you can go and stick that straight on top. Now, as long as your fold is in the right place, you've now got yourself a really easy way of adding a couple of pictures, extra pages. Now, my problem I had was that the Magic Forest, that's basically how you're making the first part of the book. All right. Surprisingly enough, I've already done this. Look how quick we can be. All right. The reason I've pre-done this is because there's a lot of other things to do that I want to show you, and the book is quite simple to make once you've got that technique. The problem I had with this paper is I went through the pad and I couldn't decide which pages I wanted to use. So I started with, so there's your basic spine of your book here, and here's where I've put those extra flaps. So I thought about the story and I imagined that my little elfin queen, she has basically, she lives in this castle, but I don't think she really likes it there very much. So I've just gone and I've added a few of the die cuts onto here.
Yep. And
then I've got her. And again, I've just cut out one of the quotes from the pages. And I've gone with this one. Again, I've put the door on there. And fantasy and reality often overlap. And sometimes we need fantasy to survive reality. So I think she's sort of thinking about where she wants to go because she doesn't want to be in the castle. And then rather than cut that page up, I decided just to layer some bits and pieces on it just to add a bit of interest. I would normally go through and add all sorts of products, maybe some metal cogs, add some metal keys, all that sort of thing. I haven't done that at this stage. I'm just leaving it quite plain at the moment, and there's a reason for that. I've just gone and put a little bit of paper through the spine.
Yep.
And I'm just going to turn. So here's the outside of the book. I just cut a little piece to go down here off one of the pages. The spine, I used the nice Roman, and I just went for that one for the door on the back. Right, so that's nice and simple. So that's just your basic book. But that's when I was like, no, this is the picture that I really wanted, because I imagine if you saw this deer in the middle of the forest, it would be a magic spell for sure. So I wanted to really make this exciting. So
one of the ladies has actually said, so Mitch, she's from Melbourne, said what a really cool idea of adding pages to the book.
Yeah, you don't have to just put it into the spine. You can definitely just add them that way. All right, so I've cut some 1-inch pieces of chipboard, And I'm just going to put, for my first layer, I am going to put full glue on my first layer. And I'm going down to put it on my left-hand side. Now, you do want to make sure that your spine can come up. Just going to move it a fraction. I'm a little bit close there. Right, because we want to make sure, yep, got it in the right place. Oh, she just moved while I was. Okay, so I've just put a plain piece of chipboard there. Now I'm going to take a second piece and I'm going to put it down on the other side. Now, I did lose a little bit of the deer, but that's okay. All right, now I do need to tell you, I have not done this project. I have, it's in my head, but this basic standard, this particular thing I've been doing for quite a few years. I like making these. It first came about when I wanted to do a hollow book, I called it, and I couldn't find one. Once you're getting to here, you notice I'm only putting the glue on the ends, and I'm making a sort of cross pattern. All right, and then again you go. Now your spine, when you do this, you need to make your spine according to how high you want to go. So the higher you go, the bigger your spine needs to be. And there is a reason for doing it this way. So as you can see, it's just over and the crosses. So we're starting to make, and have a look, we've got a little gap and it looks like a book. So it looks like lots of pages in a book. So you keep going for as long as you want, except if you're me, then hopefully I'm going to put this on the right way. Yep.
Ta-da! Here's one that she's prepared earlier.
Look at this. I've just done this one because it takes too long to sit and just glue it. So I'm just putting that straight on. And I'll go back later and I will fix all that, the bottom layers up. As you can see, we've now got a nice frame. But the best part is that hopefully I've now got a level because I went high enough with my spine. So you can do that any height you want, as much as you want to go to get the depth. All right, so now I've painted this, the blue, and I used the Indian turquoise. I think it's part of the actual whole paint range that came in the set.
So that one is,
there we go, KAL 109.
Yep.
All right, and so we've now got that, and it's the start of what we can do to our picture here, because obviously I've made a frame for it, a nice deep frame. All right, what I wanted to do then, I'm really sorry, but I'd already taken this out of the packet. So I guess it's a border. I don't know which one it is, but
you'll find it somewhere.
Yeah, I'll find it. I've got it somewhere.
It's all good.
All right.
So we've just got a few people saying, okay, number one, there was, I think there was one lady saying that they were very appreciative that we're doing it at a time that suits you guys in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So we've got quite a few Kiwis on here, which is cool. You've got people saying that they love the shadow box type books, that the project's really cool. Wowzers.
Oh, gosh.
So everyone's very happy, just letting you know.
Cool. So I've just gone and I've steamed, so just a little bit. I haven't gone all the way. And the reason is because there is this really cool chipboard piece, and I was imagining it's sort of going to come out like that. So I have just done that first part. I did forget to mention that when you're doing the spine, the Stamperia stone paper is actually super cool for doing the books. I may have forgotten to get some more in, so I couldn't use it. But I honestly, I love the stone paper.
It's very versatile.
Yeah. All right. So I'm just going to throw that in there before I, oh no, I'm just going to wipe my hands. That's not a good thing. Luckily, we're in Joe's kitchen. We are. So I got told if I got anything on the new bench, I was in deep trouble.
I could only imagine.
All right, so I'm just going to give that a really quick dry. Normally for me, I would do a lot of mixed media work But I hate the sound of heat guns while we are doing.
That bad.
Yeah,
So it's like
yeah.
okay.
There's nothing I could do about this. So I really wanted to do it. So I'm just going to try and give that a really quick, very quick dry off, because there's nothing worse than watching paint dry, is there?
Well, I quite enjoy it. I mean,
not when you've got to fit this into a class real quick.
You've got to make sure that the paste is dry.
All right. So I'm just going to put that aside to dry a bit more, and I'm just going to do a little bit. All right. I then got some of the chipboard, and there we go. It's got the code there.
SCB94. So that's from the Sir Vagabond in Japan collection.
Cool. All right. Now I do like to use a sponge. I've gone through and just put I'm just going to put that out of the way so I don't get paint on it, because otherwise I will paint it. I've just got a little bit of brown on here, and I like to sponge as opposed to painting, just because you don't get a good finish, which is, I know that sounds silly, but if you go and have a look in the bush, you never get that whole, nice, perfect sort of look. What was that?
So what color was that one?
Sorry, Earth, KAL106.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I've got Garden Green, KAL39. Hey, you know the rules for crafting, don't you, Pharrell?
What's that?
If you don't have dirty hands, have you actually crafted? That's the rules.
You had seen my hands 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
And I was scrubbing, trying to get them clean.
But it's half the fun. It's like getting dirty. It's super cool.
I love getting my hands dirty.
Yeah.
But I hate getting them dirty with dirt.
Oh, me too. Me too. 100%.
So the texture.
Okay, so we've got, can you see that shading there? And that's just by sponging with some brown and then some green. Now,
I find too, using a sponge, you're not wasting as much paint.
Correct.
And it doesn't pull in the negative space. So I prefer using a sponge when it comes to covering the decorative tubes.
That's the blue we used before. And I'm just putting a little bit of blue in, only because I don't want that blue of that frame to look too random. So I'm just putting a little bit in. When you use a sponge, don't keep going over the same spot. You need just to keep moving. So my fingers are going like quite quickly around, but you can see we've got 3 different tones there now.
Yeah.
And it's just a nice, easy way. And if you don't like painting and you don't like holding a brush for too long, that's a really good way to do it. All right. So we've painted that. Oh no, I've just found 2 pieces. That's no good, but that's okay. All right.
They weren't meant to be there. Just back up, Joe. Just back up.
Whose fault was that, Pharrell? I'm going to blame you. Is that okay?
Fine.
All right. Now we've got some, I took the words from the chipboard. So it's from this set here, which is this one.
SCB162.
Yeah. So I've cut it all up, and I've gone and I've embossed these 2, and I'm just going to do this one here. So don't you love, my embossing pad is so bad.
Hang on a second. Whoa. Is that Versamark?
No, is it?
Oh,
certainly not.
Are you sure? I can't see any color coming off that.
There is.
Show me the pad again, just really quickly. I just want to no, open
to the actual pad. Yeah. Oh, the pad itself. Yeah, like how bad is that?
Oh my goodness.
This is what happens when you do classes, and yours. Yeah, I quite often get embossing powder tipped on the whole thing, and I'm like,
I thought the ink pad was a metallic color.
No. It's clear. It was clear. All right. Okay. No, I'm just gonna try not to make too big a mess here when I.
Oh my gosh.
In the new kitchen.
Just don't heat it on the bench.
Oh no, you should see what I did on my last bench. Hence the new kitchen.
Oh my
All right, so I am just going to quickly heat that, and I'll try to hold it somewhere where it doesn't fly away.
I love embossing powder.
Is there anything better than watching embossing powder melt? I'm sorry,
no.
but embossing powder melting is like one of life's amazing things that happen.
It's magical.
It is magical. Where did you get that word from? That's super cool.
No idea.
You almost need to use your imagination, but mostly you have to believe. And if you can do all those three things, Pharrell, you'll be successful. All right. All right. So we've now got my embossing done. Okay. What else do I want to do? Okay. I took the two keys and, oh, surprise, surprise, I glued them together, but you notice there's a little bit of white around here. You can either cut that off or you could emboss it. If you put embossing powder on that as well, because that's going to hang on that side of my book. So I actually had to pre-do that because that needs a bit of time to dry properly. The other thing that I did was I embossed the edges of the words from the die cuts. And if you're going to emboss the die cuts, you're just going to take the shape, the little embossing pad, and you're just going to go around the edge. You can use the pen if you've got one. I don't know how this pad keeps working, but it does. So I always just do it that way. I'm not going to tip it on this time. I'm actually just going to put it in.
Yep.
Because it does fit in quite nicely there. And da-da-da-da. And hopefully that's looking through the middle, through the top there. Now, that's typical, isn't it? Yep. Okay. Before you heat it, if you just get a little brush, you can actually just brush off any surface. Makes it nice and easy just to add a little bit. And I just put my finger right where I shouldn't have, but that's okay.
It's mixed media. It's meant to happen.
I didn't hear that one. Mixed media. It's meant to happen. Oh, yeah. It's a design element that I spend a long time practicing to get this sort of look. And ta-da. All right. It's not perfect, but I don't want it to be. I do want it to be a little bit rough and ready in parts. Okay, righty-ho. And then the last thing I'm going to do is, can you get a close-up of that, Elle? You can see that. So this is a die cut, but I find chipboard needs to have a little bit extra love. So I've just gone and put all the leaves into a little folder. Which I just dropped everywhere because that's the rules. I just move that out of the way a little fraction. All right. And I'm just going to run that through an embossing machine. And as long as you use your basic plates, that will go through really nicely. And I'm just going to take them out of that. How cool are they? And you can see on the back. Ta-da. Really cool. All right. Then I just get myself an embossing pad, ink pad, and I just go over the top. And it just picks up all those little, can you see those little, Yep. So perfect. That's just giving us, a little bit more interest. I'm not going to do all those right now because that'll take us far too long to do that. All right. How are we going?
You still got time. You still got time.
And well, I better have. I've still got heaps to do.
You've got 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Oh, that sounds like my school exams. Don't put me under that much pressure. All right. So I'm just going to get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of this first one because that's just like thrown out of the way. All right. Okie dokie. We're going to come back to this, which I'm really hoping has had, the spare 30 seconds I gave it to dry. And it's touch dry. Cool. Right, so I'm going to go back to using my sponge again, and I'm going back to that same green from before. And I'm going to put a dot of that one. I don't think I used that one. Must be that one.
So it's the same colours that you used on the decorative chip.
Yeah, so I'm just putting a couple of dots, not too much. I just want enough to start adding. Oh, as she blobs it. All right, so I'm just gonna, I want a bit of that blue, but I don't want it to be OTT of that blue. I wanted it to be more like the forest colours with a little bit of blue sunshine coming in, which I do believe Budapest and Perth do not have today.
No, they do not.
No, it sounds like... Okay, so you can see we're starting to add a bit of colour to that blue. It's not quite so in your face blue, which is why I didn't want to show a picture of this beforehand, because I didn't want it to be.
The Indian turquoise is probably one of my favourite colours.
Look, it is a really cool colour. It's just in your face when you've got this much of it. But it's like anything, you're not, you don't need to have a whole lot. So I guess we're almost doing like an army sort of colour on here.
Oh, look, it reminds me of moss.
Yeah. So we're just going to keep going on this a little bit. Why is it when you're trying to do something in a hurry?
You don't need to rush, Joe.
Do you know how much more there is to do? Like, we could be here for, 10 o'clock tonight, which is probably not going to be a good thing. All right, so we're just going to keep quickly, not so quickly, just adding a little bit. And you don't have to worry too much because I'm still got things going over the top of this. So it's still going to be pretty good. All right, now we definitely want to do these sides. Don't leave them. They do, and this is why a sponge is so much better. See how that's starting to look like a book pages? And you're starting to add all of that. I think I might just leave that for a little bit and just see how we're going here. All right, so now we've got that part of our book done. Oh, I'm glad we've got that part of the book done. That's always a good thing.
Just breathe.
It's always good. We can actually stop and go, yay, we've got a lot. I would go through and make sure all this white is covered. I wouldn't have any of that actually when we were doing it. I'm just going to hopefully. No, I'm not going to do that. That's all right. Okay. So then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to start with the die cuts. And remember I said I had thought this was going to go in. So I'm trying to replicate the vines that are in here. And right, so we're just going to put a little bit of blue. And now you can't press down too hard because you've got this whole, they're very soft. See that? They're really movable. All right, so we've got that. And again, I do need to just check that is going to close. Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. So that's going to go on there. And then I have another one, which is going to go on the other side. And my daughter studies Greek history and she wants to be a history teacher. And if I do not have this, what are they called? Column up the right way, I'm going to hear about it for a month of Sundays. So I'm pretty sure it goes that way.
You do, you're good.
Good, because I don't want to get that wrong. Yeah, that won't be worth hearing about. All right, so we've got a little bit of texture going on up here, and we're then going to have a little look-see at these. Oh, no. Yay. All right, so I've taken some more of the die cuts, and I'm just going to add a little bit of glue, as you do, and that's just going to go. Sorry, I'm just going to fix this. There's a little. There we go. I don't want that in the way. All right, so that's just going to go on there in the middle. Oops, come on. And don't you like glue that dries clear? It's always good, isn't it? And you can make
glue that dries clear.
It has to dry clear, otherwise we're in so much trouble. And then it's a matter of deciding magical. Actually, I like that leaf word there. It looks good. So that's one of the ones we embossed before.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're just going to put that on there. Is it just my eyes, or is there a little bit of embossing powder missing on that? Now let's just pretend it's there. We can't see. Oh, good. Don't go too close. Whatever you do. All right. So we've now. No, I said don't go close. I don't know. It's so hard to get good free help, isn't it, Pharrell?
Well, I'll take her.
Oh yeah, because she can hold the thing, can't she? All right. So we've now added that, and here we go. And then there's another couple of these, which I'm just putting up into this corner. And again, you don't want it sticking out the top where the book is going to, when it's closed, you don't want it sticking out, because this is a surprise. Someone goes and thinks it's just a normal book, and then they open it and the surprise is inside. Whereas if you give them too many clues that there's something inside, it sort of ruins the whole. Okay, righty-ho. So we're starting to add a bit of love to this. But this is where this book really is the best. And because all of these pages here, you can actually put things in. And you don't have to worry, because they will actually just sit in there.
What a great idea.
All right, so you don't have to actually build them up. Now I always go through and just add a little bit of glue wherever you can. It's going to have to be right on the edges, because you know it's going to be just. So look how much room's under there. Like, there's so much space. Yeah, so it'll just sit in there. So you can actually.
Sorry, Jo.
Yeah.
So normally when I build anything up, I have so much chipboard underneath.
Yep, correct.
Whereas you doing it this way, you can slot things in behind it and not have to worry about where you've adhered your scraps to prop it up.
Yeah, cool. Right, so then we can keep going, and now we're starting to get the part where I'm having to just idea this, because whilst I had a little bit of a play, we obviously couldn't play too much. Okay, so again, look at the difference. You can actually see the depth of field going on here, which is quite handy. I really like these little lions guarding the castle. I imagine that they're guarding the deer as well. So I can do this all at different heights just by gluing, and then I just hold it for a sec while you can sort of push, but you can't push too hard, because don't you dare fall down on me. I'm just going to use the edge of that to hold it for a sec.
So Elizabeth has said that this is so beautiful. Aileen has said clever. So I think it's a very clever idea of doing it that way.
It's a really nice way of just adding the dimension without having to. And you can actually bend these and everything once it's dry, which is quite nice to be able to do as well. All right, so we've done that. Okay, it's still a bit wet. That's all right.
You want to give that a dry. Look, you still got half an hour.
You sure? I don't want to waste time for people, but
for it
is just going to need a little bit of love.
There's nothing worse. I know what it's like in a live where you're rushing to try and get things dried for the next step, and then it's not completely dry. Yes, everyone, share your love. So let's send hearts rain to Jo. I'm going to do it on my phone right now. So,
hopefully that's going to be enough. Yeah, that'll do. It's close enough. It's supposed to be a bit grungy anyway. Okay, now if I had all the time in the world, which I do not, I would be in here with some little sequins. You could put some sort of gel medium or something on these to make them all pop out. If there had been a deer this big, another page, I probably would have 3D'd him and, brought him right up, add some pearls in here, all that sort of thing. Again, I didn't want to do something people might not have. I wanted to do something that maybe you did have at home. So we've gone with that. All right, now where? Oh, here she is.
So Tracy said, really like this idea. It's fabulous. And the
Oh,
ladies
awesome.
are sending you hearts. So
So our elfin queen, she has, I hope she's an elfin queen. This is what in my head she is. So
yeah,
she's gone walkabout. She's just totally gone for a walk, and she's obviously watching. I'm just going to have to bend that up a little bit. Again, when this is dry, I'll be able to bend it more. I just can't do too much yet. She's out and she's come to the scene, and she's, obviously seen the deer, and she's in love with the deer, of course, because who wouldn't be in love with that little critter? All right, now we can really start to add some bits and pieces. Now, I wasn't sure on the color of the leaves until I actually had it together. So actually, I do like the darker leaf. So I am going to go with the darker leaf. All right. So I've actually got some leaves. They're not paper ones. They're actually leaves. And you can
actually, like real leaves.
Real leaves. No, not
No.
real. Paper real leaves.
Oh.
As opposed to chipboard real leaves.
I've been busy out frolicking with the leaves, gathering twigs and that.
Yeah, she's having a ball. She's honestly. Now, by using these, you can actually get some real serious. Can you see how cool that looks?
Yeah, that's so cool.
All right. So now you can take all your extra leaves and you can start. And I start low and start adding them into the scene. And I try and imagine, like the leaves should go the same way in the same place. If you try and imagine a tree's leaves don't go in sort of lots of different directions. They tend to sort of head in one direction. Heading for the light, I think they call it, according to where the branch is, of course. Right, so I'm just adding some of these. All right, now I'm going to take that really cool chipboard one that I did before, and I'm going to just put that in as well. Oops. It's got to find the little, here it is. And again, now you can see we're starting to get the story coming alive here, which is good. Cool. All right. I am just going to keep adding a little bit here. Now, I haven't put any down the bottom yet because I don't think, because the water's in the way, I don't think there's leaves down there. So I always look at things like that. I try and imagine the whole story so that it's not the more realistic you can make it, the better it will be. Bottom of the leaf, that one. So I'm just still adding a few. And like you can see, it's so easy with those little, with all the little chipboard pieces, it makes it a lot easier. The first time I did this hollow book, I actually did it in a real book. And I said to my hubby, hey, can you just cut these pages out for me? And he's like, oh, okay. So he cut it for me and he didn't say anything. So I just designed it as a class. Yeah. And then I went back and said, hey, can you cut 20 of these for me? And he wasn't really very happy with me, to be quite honest. And he was like, do you know how hard this is? Blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, goodness sake, it can't be that hard. Oh, goodness. After I watched him for a little bit, I realized it was a little bit hard. So I then worked out how I would make a little chipboard, using the chipboard to make myself some hollow books. So, and I have, like I said, I have taught this a few times, but I do different themes. This is the first time I've added the extra pages. I think that's getting there, isn't it? It's just, I'm just wondering.
Jess is watching.
Oh, hello, Jess. She's one of my girls, works for me, so that's cool. Oh, I've just pushed her in a bit far. I think we need to hide her a little bit because I'm thinking that if the deer saw her, maybe he'd freak out a bit. So we might just move her a little bit while we get. Right, now we can push her back in. I don't want to lose all her prettiness on her. Okay, so, all right. You can see we're starting to cut. Is that actually looking all right, guys? Can you see that from there?
Oh, Maurice is here as well.
Oh,
all the staff are watching. Woohoo!
I should hope they are. The support.
I know, because I did offer them, you know, I was going to do a shout tomorrow if they all watch, just so I wouldn't feel. No, I didn't. Watch out, I'll be shouting tomorrow morning now. It'll be. I think some of them have got netball, so they can't all be here. All right.
Lorraine, sorry. So Lorraine's just asked, did you show at the beginning how you made the frame? She loves it. She was sorry. She's
Yes, I did. Yeah. Yes. So that you should be able to watch that.
So once the live's done, then you can watch it on replay and you can see how Joe made it.
Yeah, and I'm just I have got a few more of these chipboard leaves that I did before, but I'm just not going to go too much further yet with them. Mostly because I've still got these that I want to use. Now, these, I'm not quite sure how these are going to go. I'm sort of just going to cut the frame off, and I'm not trying to think that they're going to be, they need to just sort of be, but they can't sort of, what am I trying to say? They can't be formal. They need to just be a little bit there, but not taking over everything. So
you want it in the background, not so it needs
I don't want to. And I'm sort of was trying to work out how I was going to do this part, as I want to sort of cut it up, but I don't want it to be. And because I didn't get to practice this part, I'm just going to have to sort of. All right, work out what I'm going to do. There, maybe. Okay. What's that little piece? Oh, no, I didn't just break it.
You didn't break it.
No, I didn't break it. All right. No, I don't like that. Okay. So this is quite good. See how I can take it right through. Oh, get back in there, you, until I can sort of see if I'm happy. All right. I'm just going to get another.
Hello, Omar. Omar's popped in to say good morning, good afternoon,
hey,
good evening.
Late to work, early to work. Early to work, is it?
Well, it's morning over on the other side of the world.
Okay, so again, I'm just chopping up bits as to take out the stems, the straight ones, because they wouldn't be in nature. So I'm just sort of taking little bits out. Oops. Okay, that might be quite good about there, actually.
Oh, Lorraine's just had breakfast and I'm thinking about dinner.
We're just thinking about bed. What are you on about?
Well, I was going to say, because you're 5 hours ahead of me, which is quite,
yes,
5 or 4 or 5.
Yes.
Easy.
So we've had dinner and done all that. It's always a good idea to do that before, otherwise you end up hearing stomachs rumbling while you're trying to.
I just recorded a kit that I'm going to be doing, and the whole time you can hear my stomach grumbling. The whole time. I can't even mute it. It's pretty bad. So I learnt my lesson. I eat before I record.
Yeah. So you can see I'm just putting little branches in amongst the leaves. I'm going to go back and glue those all later when I've sort of made a final.
I love how there's so much texture.
Yeah, and it's a really cool way to use what you've got as well, because, you know, if you've got little things at home that you can add to this, like I said, metal corners would be really cool.
Even fairy lights.
Oh, fairy lights would be. Why didn't I think of fairy lights? I love fairy lights. I'm going to go and find some fairy lights. Yeah, I have done fairy lights before, which looks super cool. And if you just cut a little slot in the back and just poke the cord through, so the whole battery is actually at the back, that's quite cool. But you could also tuck it in behind the castle.
Say, if you tucked it behind the castle, but still cut
Yeah.
a little bit so that you could replace the batteries.
Yeah, definitely, because there's
Perfect.
nothing worse than that, is there? You try to replace them. I've got something at the moment, and I'm going to have to pull the whole thing apart to change the batteries, and I'm a bit gutted. I was a bit stupid, but that's all right. That's once you learn, don't you?
You sure do.
Okay, I'm just trying to work out where these are going. No, I'm going to go more up here somewhere. All right. Might just keep playing a little. Okay, there we go. All right. So you can see we just keep on playing and playing and playing until you're happy with how this works out. And I'm going to go through, as I said, and glue those later, simply because I'll need to really get in there quite hard to be able to do that. Just going to chop this off here while I get all those placements right. And I think I've definitely decided that should be hiding. So I am going to just add a couple of leaves in there. And I've got all those really cool chipboard leaves that I did earlier. And again, I'm just going to be able to put them all in and just make her sort of hide a little bit more. And then I would go and add these brown ones in amongst the green, because we all know the forest is not just all one colour. And we can add all those little tiny weeny ones. And they're all just in there.
Very
all
cool.
Right, so I'm liking where this is going. So before, what I also did, I did forget some pliers. That was a bit silly, but it's okay. With any luck, no, I can't do that. I've got one of these little hooks, and I was thinking that would be really nice to be on the spine. So this is why it's really important you're checking your height all the time, because you do want your book to be nice and closed. What I am going to do is just get my hole punch, and I have got a heavy duty one here. Don't knock it on me.
I love mine.
We don't want to go up too high, and I'm more of a guesstimate sort of person. I'm not really into measuring. That seems like far too hard.
Measuring is overrated.
Measuring is definitely overrated.
Yeah.
Like, who's got time for that in life?
Yep,
It's far.
Oh,
right.
Omar's loving your project, by the way.
Oh, awesome. Except, yeah, I can't get it through while it's closed. So, actually, it would be really nice if it was inside, but...
So a good tip then, when people go to make this, is to check regularly that you can close the lid when you're
100%. Yeah. And I'm thinking that maybe measuring might have been a better idea. It seems like far too much fun. All right, that's okay. Look, it clips on there nicely. What are we worried about? We didn't need to measure. It sits on there just perfect. Oh, it is actually sitting on there really nicely now. Okay. Now, we did those, so organized. All right. So we did those two things before, the two keys that we put together. And the reason I did them earlier is because I didn't want to punch a hole through them, and I didn't want them wet, because otherwise that's a good enough place. Had I brought my little ring with me, I would actually just make a ring loop and put it on there, which I forgot to do. So we've started to hang it down. This is what I said about the key. You can see it's white there. But look, there's white up in here too. So it doesn't really matter even that side. The other option, of course, is just to take your good old whatever ink you have and just give it a bit of an ink up. And I find if you do that, you can end up with just sort of that distressed look anyway. I would normally probably put a few more fibers and stuff in there. If I hadn't used all the chipboard leaves, I probably would have, I might even go back and add a leaf. Again, you've got a couple of leaves, glue them together. And it doesn't matter if they don't fit perfectly. It's just that when they're swinging,
Yeah.
You want to be able to have them on both sides. So I actually can't do that because I didn't think that whole piece through, but that's okay.
It's a great way to use your die cuts too.
Oh, definitely. And sometimes they're little and you don't want them to sort of get wasted because, I mean, keys, I love keys. So why shouldn't, you know, the keys be used to the best of what they can be? All right. So I was thinking on the front cover, it needed just a little bit of love.
Yeah.
So we went through before and we embossed the edge of that. The magic is in you. And I think we have to remember that as human beings, that we forget that, you know, it is all inside us, whatever we are. All right, always believe in magic. In fact, I've got a huge art piece in my house that says that exact saying, because it's absolutely important that we remember to believe in magic, because if we can't believe in magic, then if it's in us, we can't believe in it. All right, so now that little bit of gold is just popping that little quote. It's a little bit bent, but that's okay. You can see that. Can you see it? Yeah, just got a little bit of there. The heart, I had the idea of putting that straight in the middle. Again, if there'd been another heart, hint, hint for next time, I would have backed that and hung that off that ring as well. And that's just going to sit.
Gorgeous project, Jo.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so you can see we've got, when that sits down, it's just gluing. It's just going to take a little bit. All right. And then, okay, I've still got magical and I've got imagination. So the shop was named after the word imagine, obviously. Imagine if I actually managed to finish this project in an hour. Wow, that would be amazing, wouldn't it?
You got 8 minutes.
8 minutes? I thought I was like in about another half an hour. I thought I was going too fast. Okay, yay, well, that's cool. All right, believe. I think I might just add that in there. I'm just going to,
I like it.
just adding a little bit of extra and ta-da. Magical. Look at that. All right. Obviously, I haven't cut up all of these yet. Possibly should have done that in advance. Definitely measure, otherwise you're going to have a big hole. I'm going to hide that. That's all right. You won't see it by the time we finish with it.
No, by the time
I'm just going to, hopefully, it's dry enough. Hopefully. Ta-da!
Oh, look at that. Everyone, share the love. Look how amazing it is.
Nice and 3D. And you've got a cool, all right. And of course, there's no reason you can't add more things to this. There's heaps like I didn't use. There's still fantasy, fairy tale. You could still put them on all these pages. You can go, you know, if someone dressed up as an elf, put them in, like still put some photos in it, and just finish the book off however you want. If you've got some really cool quotes to add, then definitely go and add those. Like I said, I'll go through and add all those later. And yeah, and I didn't even touch. Oh, bang! I didn't touch the cover. That cover. I could have done, but yeah, fussy cutting sometimes can be a little bit.
The beauty of what you've just made, though, off those flaps, you can add more flaps.
Correct. Yeah. So the only thing you do need to watch is, okay, I must admit I ripped mine apart 6 times. You can see the edge there. The higher you go, the more of that you're going to see. So you probably do want to just bring a brown ink in, or you could use your paint and go through and just paint and take it down. Don't go too high on it. But the good thing with that system of just joining those 2 pieces together is that you don't, it's not putting any strain here on the book. The higher you go, of course, the more you have to remember you're going to alter this a little bit. But the good thing is your book is sitting there now, and you can see when I start to, when I finish painting all of this, add the green, because look at the green on that side, it's so much better. And of course, I've got to go back and add those few little bits into there. Once you've got that that piece hanging off here, the story will be complete.
It's beautiful.
Done.
And look at that, we're 5 minutes to spare.
Oh,
geez,
I could have done like 10 more techniques. What the heck?
You were just a powerhouse.
Oh well, we want to make sure we do a good job, eh?
No, it's a good job. It's beautiful, and everyone has loved it.
Awesome. So there's some really cool. I've done the stamp area, the Lady Vagabond like that. So you can tell the whole story. Anything that's got that whole picture. I do love the fact that all of these pages are full stories on their own, which is super cool.
Stamperia do love to have a story behind their collections, which I think is so cool. And the best thing is that a lot of the collections you can mix and match so that you can make your own story using the collections. So it's beautiful, Jo.
Awesome.
That's awesome. So I get your face back in if that's okay. There we go. Now we can see your face. So with that done in under an hour, I'm very proud of you.
Yeah.
I don't think I could have done it in less than an hour, to be honest.
I was panicking. I was thinking I wasn't.
Very well.
But we did pre-do a little bit. Like we had to do all these, to do these. And just remember when you're doing these, don't glue the whole piece. It's just the corners, okay?
Just the corners. So that way you can slot in your die cut.
Anything you want. Yeah.
Everyone that has watched the live and will watch it over the next week or so, remember the kit is going to be available on the website, on Imaginative's website, so you can purchase. For those of you in Australia, Jo can post to you. Just check the postage, that's all. I think you said it was roughly.
Yeah, it will be about 22. Yeah.
Our website doesn't reflect that.
Yeah. Our website will lie and tell you it's $9.50. It's not. It'll be 20.
Damn those websites! I tell you what.
Don't love them.
Oh, Sally Ann's just said it's so lovely to have a New Zealand artist, isn't it?
Yeah. Hey, Sally Ann, how's it going?
Well, we did say that because of the time difference, it is a little hard. So we, Stamperia, were very kind in letting us.
Yeah, they were.
To suit you guys. So it's
5 o'clock in the morning is not fun.
No, I could not imagine. I'm not a morning person. So with that said and done, Jo, thank you very much.
No worries.
New Zealand, thank you for popping in and watching Jo, and I'll see you in person in October.
That will be absolutely awesome. We're so looking forward to having you.
Oh, I'm excited.
I'm sure we'll get on just fine.
Oh, really? I don't know.
I think I can put up with you for messy hands. As long as you've got messy hands, don't come home. Don't come here with clean.
They will be messy.
They will
for
be.
those of you that don't know, Jo is organising the FYI craft show in October.
Yep.
Second weekend.
Yep, we've done it for about 4 years. 4 years, 5 years, something like that. Yeah, so it's a really cool craft show and a lot of fun. And the retailers that are coming are very cool people. And we've managed to con Miss Farrell into coming along as well. So I think it was the idea of fish and chips for tea.
I have not had good fish and chops in a long time. Fish and chops,
Mike. We have really good fish and chips. So
I know my grandfather used to go when we'd come and visit, and he'd go and he'd say, "I'd like a nice piece of fish." No matter where we went, he'd say, "Nice." I've never had a bad fish and chips from New Zealand. Never.
Yeah, no, good fish and chips in New Zealand.
Those of you that haven't gone, you need to go because their dairy is amazing, their cows are amazing, their grass is amazing, their fish and chips are amazing.
Yeah.
No.
And the people are really cool.
Oh, yes, the nicest people. Can't forget that. Anyway, okay. Thank you, Jo.
Awesome.
Go to bed. But thank you very much for doing the live with me tonight.
No worries.
And
thanks for having us.
Oh, anytime. Take care and thank you.
See ya.
Bye, everyone. And
hi everyone, how are you doing? I'm Andonis Zanidakis and I'm here in Greece, Athens, in my studio, and I'm very happy to be here because today I'm going to present my new collection with Stamperia. Are you ready for this? It's gonna be, let's say, magical. Magic Forest. This is the collection by Stamperia, or let's say with Stamperia by Antonis Zanidakis. Very, very, very beautiful designs. So are you ready to look inside? Let's see what we have in Magic Forest. In the big 12 by 12, of course, we have the small one, 8 by 8 background collection. Okay, from the same Magic Forest. Fabrics, 4 designs, fabric, Magic Forest, ephemera and die cuts, art journaling, card making, those are perfect. Very, very, very beautiful designs. First time in my collection we have the rub-ons. I want to show you the wooden shapes. Of course, wooden shapes, one kit with some important elements. Clear stamps, we solve the problem that always you say how I can use the stamps with the acrylic block. We have stencils, 4 stencils. The molds are 4 molds. A5 soft mold. We have some rice papers. Thank you very much. What I can say, I appreciate you all and see you next time. Thank you very, very much, Stamperia, and all of you support the dream. Magic Forest.